Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it albums, EPs, or singles, and after I'm listening to them all week, I come back here and I review them. I share what I think about them. So without further ado, let's get to this week's first release. J.J. Howard's new single, Only Time Will Tell. J.J. Howard's new single, Only Time Will Tell. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good song here. Stylistically, definitely a contemporary piano ballad. And as for the lyrics here, a little bit of a backstory before I share the meaning of the lyrics here. This song talks about a friend of J.J. Howard's who underwent a mastectomy for breast cancer. And this song talks about commitment in a marriage in the midst of breast cancer, and it talks about how much this person and her husband love each other will be told when time and circumstances like breast cancer test their love. Up next, Gateway Worship's new album, Completely Abandoned. Gateway Worship's new album, Completely Abandoned. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here, even if it kind of, the sound kind of drags out a little bit over time. But overall, good album here for what it's worth. Stylistically, definitely a worship sound, as the band name suggests, with alternative, with an emphasis on softer alternative, and also contemporary elements. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. Really fits the title, Completely Abandoned. This picture of surrendering to Jesus for all he gave for us. And here's my summary here. Gateway Worship talks about surrendering our lives to Jesus, to desire his presence and love him no matter what the cost, in praise, for he is worthy, for how he is holy, and for how in his love he sacrificially shed his blood on the cross to redeem us free from sin. As we know that even in fearful circumstances, he is with us to give us strength. Up next, former All Sons and Daughters member David Leonard's new solo album. David Leonard's new solo album. He used to be part of All Sons and Daughters, by the way. David Leonard's new solo album, Plans. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely a worship album that incorporates alternative, contemporary, and country elements that sometimes push into southern rock. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. David Leonard talks about how in doubtful, uncertain circumstances he needs to trust that the Lord God, who in his love that forgave David's shame, to raise him back to life, to live a life that purely praises the Lord God, is faithfully with David to care for his needs in the doubtful circumstances, and to ultimately turn the doubtful circumstances into the best possible good future that the Lord God has planned for David. Up next, Matthew Parker's new single, Exhale. Matthew Parker's new single, Exhale. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good single here. I kind of like the synth pop meets trap feel of this song here. Kind of cool to mesh those two sounds together here. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Matthew Parker talks about how the fact you're breathing is a reason to try to use courage to rise above your anxiety to pursue your dreams. Up next, Women Who Worship, self-titled debut album. Women Who Worship, self-titled debut album. Before I dive in my thoughts, let me just explain that Women Who Worship is a group of women worship artists, including a few familiar names, including Lindy Kofer, Emmy Rose, Rita Springer, Leslie Jordan, and others. So, pretty good album here. Not a lot of songs on this album, 6 songs, but still a pretty good album here. Stylistically, definitely a worship release that incorporates contemporary and alternative elements. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too. Women who worship talk about how when things don't go their way, they look beyond fear to put hope in God's Son Jesus, to win his love through the resurrection that set them free from sin separation, to be children of God, to be with them, to provide for them through things not going their way so they can make it through those circumstances and give them strength through his resurrection to ultimately overcome those circumstances. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. If you like what's on this video, please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know that in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for Music Month Stream playlists available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Mike Donahue, Roland, Colton Dixon, and others. So go and check it out if you're interested. Well, go now. See you next week. Bye!